Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Resident Evil 4 on professional difficulty. This is my no damage guide. We are on chapter 5-3, and we only have one chapter remaining after this. So over here, we are going to pick up some ammunition. There is an emerald that I found over here on one of the glass pieces. The biggest threat over here, as you probably can guess by now, grammar is an important thing to me most of the time when I'm not screwing it up badly, but I think you get more of a pass when you're speaking and as far as making mistakes as opposed to when you're writing. But this isn't an English essay, this is a guide and a walkthrough, and we've got a couple of guys here just to dispatch, and Krauser is the boss of this chapter, and there is also a QTE fest with him, and it's extremely boring, and I don't like Krauser. I hate the fight, mostly because of the mobility that he has that we lack, and it's in a horrible fight, and I did use the Ditman glitch in a couple of areas just to run past him a little bit, and I'm the kind of person that regrets that, but when I had finished him off and when I got my final checkpoint, I was just happy that it was just over with, and it's not the kind of thing that was going to haunt me or anything like that. So I just moved on, because a lot of other players, they do it too, and it's not like there's a rule against it. I'm not giving myself an extreme advantage, but is it an advantage? I suppose, but it kind of stretches what it means to be a glitch, kind of. So not too many fights on this chapter that I found enjoyable. The fight that starts the next chapter is pretty damn annoying. But what's going to happen over here is that when you get to this location, you're going to have a door to the right and some more spawners. There's a little office area to our rear, and I can't remember if there's anything worth going back and saving it for, because we will soon get another save point. So actually, what happened right there was I thought the room was clear. You may have noticed some kind of an edit right there, and there was, because I was trying to leave myself in a neutral position so that when I picked up the guide the next day, or whatever it was, probably later in that day actually, because I don't like leaving my software running overnight. So I like to get to a save point, but I did find some more enemies down here. That was the one that I found. It was right after I got that shotgun ammunition. So what we are going to do now is run up here. There is one sequence, a really terrifying sequence, which has just extremely poor run back to it, and zero checkpoints with I think he's called the U3 enemy or something along those lines. I can't exit out right now, and I don't want to go on the internet on my phone right now. But I'm having a lot of troubles pulling up my comments on YouTube, because the YouTube app on the Android YouTube app, it's displaying all videos as having comments disabled. And while some comments are disabled on some videos, the majority, they don't have that on there. So I had to reinstall the update. So the comments that I would normally see are just vanishing. So I've been obliged to leave these cutscenes in, and what we're going to do here is just the evade QuickTime events exclusively, which are X and A, or left trigger and right trigger. And if you're shrewd about playing this game, you'll just press all four at once, because there's no penalty for doing it. The only other QuickTime event is tapping the X button and the A button. But it's an opportunity for some exposition. If there were no Krauser boss fight and this were the fight, then I would damn the game a little bit more heavily than I do. But I think the fight as it stands at the end, it definitely doesn't serve the mechanics. I mean, it only serves to show the limitations of them when another person is faster than you in this game. So anyway, the guide is almost finished, and I think I'll probably have about 10 days before Arkham Knight comes out. So I would like to jump back into Vanquish and see how I can do with that game. I really would like to beat those bogeys. Like, if I could beat those final bosses, I would just be so happy about myself. Like, that would just be the biggest thing I could ever do, and I can't wait, because the prospect of that is ever looming, and it's always a possibility. So, oh, right there, you may have saw some mouse button inputs. There is a checkpoint over here somewhere. So if you fail, like I failed, then something like that may happen when you're just moving around a lot, coming back to a game. So as you can observe right there, you're tapping the X button, and then it's quickly telling you to switch and then tap the A button. I'm also a little uncertain about covering Ada's campaign, called Separate Ways. I don't know how much it adds to the gameplay. If I had to play the game over again, I would probably just play Leon's campaign again, but not upgrade anything. Do a no upgrade run, but this game has been a heavy investment in my time, and to do the guide again afterwards would just be too time consuming. So after this sequence here, you'll notice that there's a crossfade, and then we're gonna have some traps down here to deal with. Now these particular traps are not so bad. All you need to do is just run under them. Like on this one here, you want to have the lines being in opposition on the vertical axis to run through there, and then on that, all you do is run forward and press the triggers, and I think you repeat the same process afterwards, and then you open this door, find that you can't do anything about it, and then just run towards these things and then press left and right triggers. So okay, so when you come in here, you can sit on the throne if you choose to do so, pick up the emerald, and then there's also this, which I think is an elegant headdress. The second of those in the game. Those actually are called like a one of a kind item, but I know that there's more than one, so the exclusivity that it says it has, it doesn't have that. So there are a couple of items under here, and then what we're going to be doing is that tricky section with the U3 monster, if that's what he's called, and it's really horrible. It got so bad for me. Also, you want a grenade launcher in your excuse me. You'll need a grenade. Well, you don't need it, but you don't want to do that tricky section with the U3 and then have to fight him without a rocket launcher afterwards if you are having troubles taking him down. And hell, why waste so much of ammo anyway? So the first thing you want to do or learn on this guy is that when you run at him, he will attempt to grab you. So if you bait him into a grab like you've been doing all the other enemies, you can just reverse in your tracks, evade his grab. And then the only real thing here that's difficult too is that he randomly will try to grab you, and the quick time buttons aren't that difficult to know. It's just the instantaneous compulsion by the player to have to do those. And there should have been a checkpoint in each of these rooms. If not, then at least in like the third room. But the best thing to do over here is to shoot these two switches, because a lot of these sequences you want the upper hand on the guy so that you can run around him more quickly. So shooting these two will open the door. And then I've left these cutscenes in here just because it's a lot easier to be able to tell what's going on, even if I skip them right away. So our goal is to press the second switch. You're always going to be pressing two switches, and what I would do is, if you suspect that he hasn't attempted to grab you in a while, just make sure that you're hovering your pointing fingers and your thumbs, or your thumb actually. Oh, this is pretty difficult to get this grenade. You kind of have to toss it at the base of that door so that it goes under it, and then it explodes. Because the advantage here that you can have is that you can press both switches before you even summon this monster. And the thing you have to know is that door, like where is that door? Sometimes it's really easy to get lost, but when you want to take a left right here, take a right, and then just go straight forward and press the X button, and then you get a checkpoint here. But that's a very nerve-wracking sequence. That really started making me swear and getting pissed off right there, because it's mostly the run back. It's pitiful. But if you have the rocket launcher right there, you can just end it all, and then go around here and collect all of your pickups. So if you don't have a rocket launcher there, what you can do is you can run around the environment waiting for this guy to get close to those red cans and then shoot him. But by the time you're done with that sequence, unless there were a typewriter over here so that you can come back on another day maybe, it's just, I need to turn the fan on too, excuse me. It's too hot. I sweat profusely and I hate it. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you can actually go back to the typewriter now by going in this elevator over here. Or it's not an elevator, it's just some kind of a lift from point A to point B. You can pick up that item and then just make sure you go back. And I think we're about ready to fight Krauser, if memory serves. The Krauser boss fight does have, I think, 2 checkpoints, but some of them require you to do quite a lot of things before you earn that checkpoint. Oh, this battle over here, this is a very simple battle. The main enjoyment for me when I play this game is just the battles. I really like fighting gauntlets. I don't like fighting bosses, and it's just one of those things where, you know, you just select what you like, I guess. But I've had a lot of fun playing this game, but that is a grand understatement. I have had I've been happy playing the game, and I rarely get happy when I play a game, because a lot of the times when I'm playing a game, it's so poor that I don't even want to play it, and a lot of the times I just stay clear of games anyway. Take the Executioner DLC. When I heard that was in first person, I deleted the Evil Within from my computer, because I was waiting for a third DLC, and when I heard that fucking shit, just programs, delete Evil Within. That's what I did. I don't care how good it could be, and guess what? It was horrible. I've seen a lot of people playing it, and it's absolutely a fucking joke. It's trash. All the DLCs were crummy. If they had been on Akumu difficulty and not in first person, I think they would have been a lot better. Okay, so the thing about Krauser is that the knife is going to deal him the most damage for some reason. You know, I guess far too many enemies in this game have been able to be killed by rocket launchers, so they didn't want you to get away with that. But selling this thing after you put the 3 pendants in there, or the stones, it'll give you, I think, 35,000. If you sell all 4 things individually, that is the statue and the gems, obviously you get less, which is a sign of a really competent game that's not being lazy. Also, when you're doing the Ditman glitch, I think I said before you have to have the grenade equipped. That's completely wrong. I was watching a tutorial and the guy had the grenade equipped, so I just assumed that it was a requirement, but it's not. And also you bend over faster with the Ditman glitch, and you knife faster. So the only reason I'm going to be using this Ditman glitch is to just flee from one of the sections that is... It's still possible to flee from otherwise, but I really need to address this, because what I would have the TMP equipped, and I would upgrade the damage exclusive so that you exceed the threshold of damage that you can do to this guy. So when you come in here, what you want to do is shoot this door and get a knife slash on him as he's trying to come through here, and it works out really well. Normally, like per phase, it's only like 2 slashes of the knife. But the thing is, if he tries to slash you and you don't get any kind of quick time event, I don't think you ever do, you or not. I think you sometimes do, but it's a rare thing. And if you don't get the prompt, there's literally nothing you can do to survive. So you have to take the game over, and it's very unfortunate. So after this section is finished, you will get your first checkpoint of the fight, and I will tell you where all the checkpoints are. But this checkpoint is perhaps the longest of all of them. He's going to be hiding behind one of these slabs. You'll see his shadow. If you don't see a shadow, it's because you're at an angle where his shadow isn't likely or isn't realistic that it would show to you or reveal to you with the lighting, I imagine. But it's you see, all it really is a couple of knives. But knifing him, while it does the most damage, it's the most dangerous thing to do and the most nerve-wracking too, because of just his speed, and you can't counterattack his move. So what I'm going to do here, I've put the speed run on just so that I can jump in here and just get to the next phase, and then deal with phase 3. But you can snipe him from where he is on the top of the house if you like. So I think this is the trickiest phase, and that's why I just run to it, because you don't sacrifice any damage on him by not going to a phase. Like if you wanted to skip phases, it's perfectly fine. So that's what I was discovering here. There's also no penalty for not interacting with him and talking to him as it is. I mean, that's that's really wonderful. But when he drops down, that really is the best time to go knife him. And I took the Dipman glitch off for this because I just didn't want to have the advantage. But the advantage that you would have here, it would be really good, because not only do you run faster, but you bend down faster and you can knife him faster. And that really is what it should be. It's so completely unfair that this character is so goddamn slow. It's not even a matter anymore of convenience. It's a matter of being at a level playing field for that boss. It's just you want to start crying because it's so horrible. I mean, and you shouldn't be bawling in a game that you love. But after you do that phase, you do get a final checkpoint, and we're going to be dealing with some of the machines. But it's very important right there to hit the switch with the realization that he could grab you. And if he does grab you, what is it? I think it's waggling the left analog stick, and then a second later pressing the 2 triggers in. And as much as I hate waggling analog sticks, I never really had any problems succeeding in that QuickTime event. So I just, of all the gameplay so far, and I haven't finished it yet because I'm still on 5-4, not only is this my least favorite boss fight, but it's just the most boring part of the game for me. It's difficult just because this character is a slow-moving tank. I mean, that's the bottom line. This game is ancient. And I mean that in the best possible way, because I love this game. But when it's old, it really feels old, and I hate that. So I imagine here, if you don't respond, you could incur some kind of a penalty, but perhaps not. Anyway, when that sequence ends, all you need to do is to run under the Adobe archway and then get under here, get your loot, and then we are going to be getting the last checkpoint, and it's yet again one of those lame checkpoints where you have to go to a location, grab something, skip a cutscene, and then watch a brief yet annoying cinematic. So this is actually going to look easy on screen, but it's actually really difficult until you know exactly where you need to knife this guy. Where you need to knife him is at his feet and then at his head. At the feet, at his head. Just ignore the QuickTime events. If you have to do the QuickTime events, you take mandatory damage. It's really horrible. But this took me about at least a dozen tries. But do you know the way that you knife the villagers and every other enemy in the game, where it's a certain angle that once you know it, you kind of always do it, because like you know that angle, like the trajectory. Once you know the angle that you need to hit his face, it staggers him, and it's a really good, it's a really great feeling, because then you know that he's going to be running at you and then you can get another stagger or a flinch by hitting his feet. And then they have this really dumb anticlimactic moment of running to the door, and then the next fight in the beginning of chapters 5-4, I haven't finished yet, but it's really annoying as well. So that's it, guys. Take care.